Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. Serious, what celebrity death hit you the hardest? Attention. Serious, tag notice. Jokes, puns, and off-topic comments are not permitted in any comment, parent or child. Parent comments that aren't from the target group will be removed, along with their child replies. Report comments that violate these rules. Posts that have few relevant answers within the first hour, and posts that are not appropriate for the serious tag will be removed. Consider doing a NOMA request instead. Thanks for your cooperation and enjoy the discussion. I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit if you have any questions or concerns. Alan Rickman. Man fuck cancer. Alan Rickman was such an awesome person and actor. He taught my master class when I studied abroad. He is as clever and well-spoken as you can imagine. Kinda shy too. Grant Imahara. I really only knew him from Mythbusters, but after his death I learned about all the other amazing things he had done, and I'm now truly saddened that there's not more people like him. Before Mythbusters he was on an episode of Junkyard Wars where they had special effects teams. They had ILM versus Jim Henson Creature Shop, and I can't remember the third. Grant was obviously on the ILM team. I met him once at a tiny AIM-con, and while I knew his face and knew that I should know his name, I couldn't place it. We chatted about Halo for a bit over an hour because he seemed super into it. Maybe he wanted a break from all the Mythbusters talk. But he was super nice. It's basically like, imagine if one of your friends only ever wanted to talk about your job, nothing else. Sometimes they just want to shoot the shit, not talk about their job. Sure, his job was interesting, but he likes other stuff too, like Halo. Robin Williams and Anthony Bourdain. I understand there's a guy inside me who wants to lay in bed, smoke weed all day, and watch cartoons and old movies. My whole life is a series of stratagems to avoid, and outwit, that guy. Anthony Bourdain. I love this quote so much, man. RIP. Edit. Thank you for the awards and all the replies, take care of yourselves. Robin Williams hit me hard, but then in the weeks and months after, learning what he was going through, I was a bit relieved. His pain and terror was over. I wish his death could have led to more conversations about death with dignity, the right to choose. LBD is a terrible disease to die from, I've seen it firsthand. Steve Irwin. He died a couple of weeks before I started university. At the Freshers' Ball, the band stopped playing and asked us to respect a minute's silence for Steve. 1,000 pissed-up teenagers, away from home for the first time, and not one said a word, until the minute was over and a spontaneous Steve. 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 Chant broke out. I don't know if any other celebrity could have commanded that much universal respect. Robin Williams. I shared my story in my own comment, but just so people can know the magic that was this man. Robin Williams. I've told this story on other accounts, but I love telling it. As a kid I was one of 10 winners for a sweepstakes to be a pen pal with Robin for a year. I was stoked, and I'm like 8 or 9 years old. My brother and sister told me it probably was going to be him, just a publicist or intern. I didn't care. For months we sent so many letters of silliness, all his letters were long, and he really loved talking about Zelda, she's a little older than me, and all the new projects he was working on. My family went to Disney that summer and I wrote a letter while in the car, and I was determined to give it to Genie because I was convinced he was always playing him in the costume and wanted to hand deliver at least one. My brother and sister were again deterring me, but I wasn't breaking my gait. Well, of all coincidences in the world, Robin actually was there signing autographs. I was ecstatic. Literally jumping for joy as I'm in line. We get to him and I'm rambling like a motherfucker telling him how I was a winner and about the letter and yada yada. He just goes Kyle. With a massive grin and opens his coat and pulls out my letter from a month prior that was with a few others. Apparently he kept all our letters on him while on the road to help cheer himself up, which devastates me now thinking about what that meant. I almost fainted. I cannot express the amount of electric energy surging through me knowing Robin Williams actually wrote me, knew me, and I believe truly loved me and those other kids like we were his children. I'll never ever claim anybody was a bigger fan of his than Zelda. I respect her too much to say that. But I'm definitely his second biggest fan of all time. When he died I cried into my then wife's arms for a full hour. I felt I really lost a true friend that got me through so much growing up. A man that could get my siblings and I to shut up and just revel in his magic for hours at a time. I miss you, Robin. Every day. Alex Trebek. I think Alex Trebek and Steve Irwin are the only two I've ever tied up over. I have a lot of good memories growing up of watching Jeopardy with my mom, and it felt like a little piece of me was lost when I heard of his passing. I was just a kid when Steve Irwin died, but I still remember my mom sitting me down and explaining to me what had happened, as if he were a member of the family. He instilled a love of animals in me that I still have to this day, and I'm eternally grateful to him for how he treated the creatures he interacted with. Seeing Robert follow in his footsteps also makes me feel proud in some strange way. Robin Williams. His humor and spark brought so much light to the world. It is a little bit darker now that he is gone. It was tragic, but what's really tragic is everyone using him a symbol of depression. Robin Williams didn't kill himself because he was depressed, he killed himself because of his struggles with Lewy body disease, an aggressive form of dementia that was literally making him lose his mind. Agreed. A lot of people don't even know about that. Jessica Walter. I love Archer and Arrested Development. I'd rather be dead in California than be alive in Arizona, the mighty queen herself. I grew up watching Arrested Development and she was one of my favorite characters. Rip Jessica. Phil Hartmar. It was just such a sad story. Oh man, every time I think of Phil I think, fuck his fucking shitbag wife. Why couldn't she just take herself out? Why take Phil, too? And then I remember the Andy Dick story and get mad at him, again. Phil Hartmar was so awesome. Edit, here's the story about Andy Dick, told by John Lovitz. It's not what I heard back when the incident happened, sorry for misleading. https://www.psos.com/news. True or not, there is a story about John Lovitz decking Dick over his role in that mess. That cheers me up. For what it's worth to you, I went to college and was close with his daughter. I didn't know she was related until I mentioned I had made a new friend freshman year to my parents and naturally they recognized her last name. She's doing really well. Can't speak to how she deals with her past day in and day out, but she grew up to be a wonderful person and I was lucky enough to go to her wedding and share in that moment in her life. Phil was an amazing man. Taken from us way too soon. Chester Bennington. I grew up listening to LP. Their music helped me through years of suicidal depression. If there was no chance for Chester, what hope did someone like me have? I still find it difficult to listen to them. That one fucked me up. Hybrid Theory was the first album I bought where I honestly, thoroughly enjoyed every track. I was 15, and that whole album was a roller coaster of emotions for me. From highs to lows, each song points to a specific memory in my mind. Never really cared for any other of their other albums, but the way he went out just flipped my view of life. Some people who appear to have a lot can be missing something big, which might seem insignificant to those who appear to have little. And vice versa. Chester and Chris Cornell. Yeah. I feel like both of them had songs prior to their actions that showed they were very aware of what certain feelings were like, that got a lot heavier after the fact. Scott Willard too. Was a big GNR and Velvet Revolver fan. His was a little less surprising, though. Chadwick Boseman. There was a picture of him looking skinnier before his death, but generally he was considered to be at his peak, career and physical. It was really unexpected. Maybe it's because I don't follow celebrity news, but it genuinely took me by surprise that he had cancer for so long. I really respect the actors and studios he worked with for not sharing, and not sidelining him until the end. Chadwick seems like such a nice and genuine man, I hope he's now at peace. It's not you. He didn't talk about it with anyone. He did Five Bloods with Spike Lee and Ma Rainey just before he died, and none of those directors, cast, etc. had a clue. One of the actors on Five Bloods said he noticed he has a masseurs give him rub-downs during downtime and thought he'd just gone Hollywood. He regretted thinking that, but how could he know? He didn't even tell Disney, and they had been prepping for BP2, had to start from scratch. I'm still impressed as hell that everyone who knew of his illness managed to respect his wishes and keep it under wraps. Like, no one knew for sure he had stage 4 cancer until it was announced he passed. It seems like he really only told immediate family. Heath Ledger. He was so talented and he was surely a good guy. A Knight's Tale is my favorite movie of all time, for as long as I only consider with the nostalgic part of my brain. I'm not even one for rom-coms, but it's such a fun movie I can watch it 100 more times and not get tired of it. Mr. Rogers. Same. I bawled. I couldn't figure out why this hit me so bad, then I did. As a military brat moving from place to place, he was my only constant friend.